owes my family an apology. More so because a lot of times he'll have this perspective of, it was a joke or I was trying to be funny, and it did not land at all.
All right, y'all, let's talk about what really went down when Kimmy's brother finally spoke up. And trust me, it wasn't just some casual family talk. It was raw, emotional, and long overdue. The moment he opened his mouth, it felt like the lid popped off a pressure cooker that had been boiling for years. Now, we're talking about Maurice, the man who's always looked calm, polished, and in control. On the surface, he comes across like he's got everything figured out. Always composed, always collected. But sometimes...
Hi everybody, I'm Kimmy, and I am on Love and Marriage Huntsville. And it's been a wonderful opportunity. It was unforeseen. It was something none of us ever sought out. We were legitimately friends that hung out trying to do some things for the more disenfranchised portion of our town. And I like that similarity even in the Bell Collective when they first started as well, was in regards to some of rebuilding some of the portions of town that are meaningful to us. And so we've been able to do that. This platform has afforded us a lot of opportunity to reach out to people. I agree with Marie in the fact that the show has something for everybody. You know, I don't have to be your favorite. I can be, but I don't have to be.
When someone keeps that same smooth energy all the time, you start to wonder what's hiding underneath that calm. What don't we see? Well, Kimmy's brother saw it. And he wasn't going to stay quiet anymore. See, Kimmy went through one of the hardest battles a person can face, cancer. And during that painful, scary, and exhausting time, her brother watched closely. He noticed things that others may have missed or ignored. He saw the truth behind closed doors, and when the moment came, he called it out. He didn't hold back. He told Maurice straight to his face, "You didn't show up the way Kimmy needed you to."
That you guys didn't see. However, in the moment that I acted, I was acting to protect the situation, protect my brother from further harm.
And that wasn't said out of anger. It was said with pain, frustration, and years of holding it in. He wasn't just talking as a brother. He was talking as someone who watched his sister suffer in silence, while her partner looked like he was playing the part of the strong husband. But here's the thing, being strong doesn't just mean standing tall and not crying. Sometimes, strength is being vulnerable. It's showing up emotionally. It's listening. It's sitting with someone in their pain, even if you don't have the answers. And according to Kimmy's brother, Maurice didn't do that. He may have been physically present at doctor visits, at treatments, but emotionally, he was somewhere else, absent, distant. Focused on appearing solid rather than actually supporting Kimmy where it mattered most, her heart, her spirit. And what made this confrontation even more powerful? Kimmy didn't interrupt. She didn't tell her brother to stop. She didn't defend her husband. She didn't say a word. She just sat there quiet, still, watching. And that silence? It spoke louder than anything else in the room.
I wanted to make sure that no one is misled by this information. First of all, my name is Maurice Scott, Maurice Jefferson Scott, Sr. And if you're gonna do research on a Maurice Scott, make sure that you're researching the right person.
Because Kimmy's always been the peacekeeper. She avoids drama, handles herself with grace, and usually tries to smooth things over. But not this time. This time, she let her brother speak the truth she's likely been carrying inside for a long time. Let's go back for a moment. When Kimmy and Maurice first came onto Love and Marriage, they looked like a power couple. Calm, connected, solid. Viewers saw them and thought, now that's relationship goals. But sometimes, what looks perfect on camera isn't the full picture. And in this case, the real story was happening behind the scenes. Enter Jalen, Kimmy's brother. Now, he's not the loud one. He's not chasing attention. He doesn't try to be part of every scene. But he's always been there, watching, paying attention.
Saying that this is all the reason, but True T has really done an amazing thing for Miss Black Titanic, and I appreciate that. And it's always good to see creators supporting other creators. But child, Y'all go over there and listen to this, because this right here is the clown of the year.
And when someone quiet finally speaks, you better believe it's because they've had enough. Jalen saw the little things. The way Maurice avoided emotional conversations. The way Kimmy would push her own feelings down just to keep peace. And during her sickness, when she needed real support, not just help with logistics, but emotional warmth, Jalen saw her carrying that burden mostly on her own. He noticed how Kimmy never asked for much. She isn't the type to complain or cry out for help. But just because someone doesn't speak up doesn't mean they're okay. And Jalen knew that. So during a family talk, some say it was meant to be a moment to clear the air. He finally let it all out. And what he said cut deep. He looked at Maurice and said, "You're so busy pretending everything's fine that you can't even see what she's going through. She doesn't need you to fix it. She just needs you to feel it with her." That hit hard. Because how many times do we see people try to be the fixer? They try to offer solutions instead of just being there. And that's what Jalen was trying to make Maurice understand. It's not about logic. It's about love. Real, present, emotional love. Jalen was tired of seeing his sister comfort everyone else when she was the one who needed comforting. He was done watching her be strong for a man who couldn't be emotionally present for her. And he wasn't alone. A lot of fans had been thinking the same thing. They noticed the moments when Kimmy opened up on camera, and Maurice seemed distant or overly technical with his responses, like he was analyzing instead of feeling. And it's those little things that pile up until the weight becomes too much. Now, let's talk about Kimmy's reaction again. She didn't flinch. She didn't rush to Maurice's side. She didn't try to explain anything away. In fact, her silence almost felt like a quiet thank you to her brother. Because finally, someone said the thing she never had the energy to say. Sometimes, when you've been holding something in for years, it's a relief when someone else finally takes that weight off your chest. That's what this moment looked like for Kimmy. And then, something nobody expected happened. Maurice broke. He didn't argue. He didn't deny it. He didn't brush it off with more logic or deflection. For once, the man who always looked composed, always sounded in control, let go. He admitted it. He said he didn't know how to be vulnerable. That he believed being strong meant hiding his fears, keeping emotions locked away, and staying composed no matter what. But now, he saw how wrong that was. He admitted that, in trying to appear strong, he left Kimmy to carry the emotional load by herself. He realized that strength isn't silence. Real strength is showing up emotionally, even when it's uncomfortable. And that confession? It changed everything. Suddenly, this wasn't about blame. It wasn't about who was right. It became a moment of truth, a moment where years of unspoken pain finally got the acknowledgement it deserved. Of course, the fans had something to say too. Some people were touched by Maurice's emotional breakdown. They said, "Finally he gets it." One fan wrote, "It's late, but at least he owned up." Kimmy deserved that honesty. Another said, "It takes guts for a man to admit he failed emotionally." Props to him. But now, he has to show it with actions. But not everyone was convinced. Others thought it was too little, too late. They pointed out how Kimmy had to stay strong during chemo, how she never got the kind of emotional care she gave to everyone else. Some fans felt like Maurice only showed emotion because he was publicly called out, not because he truly understood. One person commented, "Where was this energy when she needed it most? When she was scared and hurting, and he was acting like everything was fine?" Another said, "He's crying now because Jalen dragged him, not because he really gets it." We'll see if his actions match those tears. And that's real. Because crying is one thing, but showing up day after day with emotional presence, care, and honesty? That's the true test. This moment sparked something deeper too. It wasn't just about one marriage. It highlighted a bigger issue a lot of people relate to, especially women. In many families, women carry the emotional weight while the men are taught to stay strong, to never cry, to never show weakness. And over time, that leaves women feeling alone, especially when times get hard. So now, the big question is, What's next for Kimmy? Now that Maurice has admitted where he went wrong, will she give him another chance? Or was this the moment she realized she's done carrying the emotional load by herself? Kimmy has always been the glue in her family, in her marriage, in her community. But glue gets tired. And now, she finally has someone in her corner, her brother, saying, "You don't have to do it all anymore." That changes everything. Because once you realize you don't have to carry other people's emotional weight, you start to think differently. You start to ask yourself, do I want to keep fighting for this relationship? Or is it time to fight for myself? And listen, choosing peace doesn't mean giving up. It means choosing yourself. And maybe for the first time in a long time, Kimmy finally has the space to do that. So now we leave you with this. If you were Kimmy, what would you do? Would you give Maurice another chance now that he's starting to understand what you needed all along? Or would you walk away before you lose any more of yourself? Because let's not forget, this moment wasn't about drama. It was about truth. It was about pain finally being spoken out loud. It was about a woman who deserved better finally being seen. And it was about a man, flawed and imperfect, finally realizing he wasn't really showing up, not in the way that mattered most. Jalen spoke the truth. Kimmy stayed silent, but her silence screamed volumes. And Maurice? He finally listened. But is that enough? We'll just have to wait and see. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Because this isn't the last time we're going to talk about real moments, real relationships, and what it means to truly show up for the people you love. So now that everything's out in the open, it's up to Kimmy to decide what's next. Will she give Maurice another chance? Or finally choose herself after all these years of carrying the weight alone? One thing's for sure, real love isn't just about showing up, it's about showing up right. Let us know in the comments what you would do in her shoes. Do you think Maurice is really changing, or is it just too late? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you never miss another real moment. Thanks for watching and stay tuned.